dudes, it's Gaz, and welcome back to another Warframe video. So we got a new Prime Resurgence details today, and we'll be going over this next Prime Resurgence. I'll be discussing builds and how useful these gear items are in 2024 Warframe, and basically should you spend your Aya, or your money, or Regal Aya for that matter, on these items that are returning. And spoiler, there's actually one thing in here you might really want to get, but for the most part, a lot of these other things are not really super necessary in 2024. So let's get right into it. But before we do, make sure you sub this channel. We do daily Warframe video uploads, news videos, discussion videos, strategy guides, all that kind of stuff. You're in the right place for Warframe content. Let's get right into it. Alright, so the next Prime Resurgence is going to be starting on August 29th, and today's the 15th, so you got about 2 weeks exactly until this happens, and it will drop at 2 p.m. ET. We've got the Nezha Prime and Octavia Prime Resurgence. So as far as the weapons, Nezha Prime's got the Octavia Prime and the Guandao Prime, and Octavia Prime's got the Tennocon Prime rifle and the Pandero Prime pistol. Now, as far as those weapons being any good in 2024, unfortunately, they're kind of a little bit power crept. They're still usable for sure, but as far as the best stuff in the whole game, the frames are still really high tier, but the weapons, on the other hand, have definitely... They need like an Incarnon or something nowadays. We're definitely spoiled in Warframe with Incarnons. Now, showing how these items are used, we've got Nezha Prime right here, and my main Nezha build is going to be a maximum range Divine Retribution augment build, because they did unnerf it a little bit compared to when they first nerfed it. But before I go into this build, I would recommend having some casting speed, parkour velocity, or parkour casting, casting speed shards for amber shards here to cast abilities faster, because you need it with this ability. But I don't have them on here right now because I don't play Nezha that much anymore. But yeah, the main build I usually use on Nezha is going to be a maximum range nuking build with the Divine Retribution augment. Make enemies DOT procs like explode all over the place, and it will spread to enemies affected by the range. So we got like a 39-meter nuke range with this. Use Dark Verse from Dante to slash them up, and that slash proc is shared. If you want more of a normal Umbra build, you can just throw on, honestly, Nezha is easy enough to play. Just throw on some Umbra mods, Helmunthon Roar, and you're basically just done. You can throw on Rolling Guard in that last slot if you want to, but really, it's not necessary. Nezha is quite invincible a lot of the time, so don't worry about it too much. But yeah, my main build right here is going to be this. There's also a Nourish build right here too for getting some viral and some easy energy regen. But my main build is going to be this one. And yeah, Nezha is more of a tank character with some utility as well. So the third ability of Nezha gives you a tanky, like a tank layer over your health and your shields and all that stuff. But it is not full damage prevention. It's actually damage absorption of a 90% amount. So you'll still take damage through this, unfortunately. Unlike Iron Skin, where you don't take any damage, you will still take damage through Nezha's Warding Halo. Just keep that in mind. Nezha's second ability, Blazing Chakram, you throw a hula hoop basically, and it can do some fire damage. You can actually teleport to the hula hoop as well if you push the button again. It's a pretty fun ability. It has some pretty decent augments too, like Blazing or Reaping Chakram, make enemies take more damage, and also drop more orbs. But yeah, the main thing here is going to be the fourth ability, Divine Spears, the Divine Retribution mod, making a massive AoE nuke. And Nezha's normal ability, when it's not Helmuth off, is going to be, or the first ability is going to be Firewalker, making them run around faster. And also do some fire procs. So yeah, Nezha's great still. It's like an alternative to Rhino, I'd say. I'd recommend getting Nezha, but again, not really the most meta of the meta. Speaking of not meta at all, we got the Octavia Prime, a 8% crit chance Prime pistol with 42% Siddhis chance and built-in gas damage in the explosion of the delayed Dart Explosion. I don't really use this thing much anymore, but you can use it as a CO procer with the built-in gas damage. You got tons of different procs on here, so more of a DPS build here. Wouldn't really recommend it, but something you could definitely try out. It is definitely a lackluster weapon for the most part. I would love to have an Incarnon on this thing someday. And as far as the Guandao Prime, this thing actually holds up pretty well. It's going to be the melee weapon with Nezha. Look at the stats here. 32% critical chance and a 20% Siddhis chance, and it's pretty much all slash. So really good base stats already. Take a look at the build. I've actually got 2 ribbons to this thing because it is pretty nice. On this build, we've got it looks like a slash ribbon, and then we've got Toxin mod. Don't really need that Toxin mod. You could throw on something else like Blood Rush or Weeping Wounds on there. But yeah, the standard builds go well here. There's an Endo build as well. Pretty good. But yeah, this thing is great for just like everyday gameplay. It's a good melee weapon in general. But I'd recommend more of a Blood Rush, Weeping Wound setup for normal stuff. I was doing a upfront damage build here, which is not really going to be for everyone's cup of tea. So more like that, tons of slash procs, tons of damage, and lots of dead enemies. Now there's no Prime Reach on here, but again, you could technically put it on there if you want to. It doesn't have the best attack speed, so I'd recommend probably an attack speed mod, but yeah, this could definitely work, guys. Something along the lines of this. Maybe put on the range mod instead of the Riven if you want to. Now, that weapon is quite good and is used for endo farming and used just as a generic, normal melee weapon in general. Let's go over the accessories of Nezha, because Nezha's accessories look pretty good. There's actually a Fire Dragon Ephemera that is going to be quite nice if you don't have it yet. Now, the problem with this Fire Dragon Ephemera is that it's very distracting to, you know, the screen. Like, it covers up a lot of the screen. Let's see what the name of this actually is, so I can link it for you guys. It's going to be the Baron Prime Ephemera. So, if you want to buy this extremely distracting ephemera, it looks cool, but again, maybe you don't want it because it will cover the screen so much. So going ahead and looking at what this is, kind of hard to see in this preview, but there's some fire dragons. These are obviously able to be changed with energy colors and stuff like that. So if you want to have some pink dragons or, you know, a blue dragon or whatever, that is definitely an option. But yeah, this thing does cover up a lot of your screens. Just be aware of that before you buy it. And then you have like some kind of whatever armor set with Nezha. It's going to be mainly the prize is going to be the ephemera on this one. Let's move on to the Octavia Prime access, which will be the other half of this. And spoiler, the frame is actually really good on this one, but I'm not going to pretend like I'm going to justify these weapons in 2024 here. But we'll go over all the stuff anyway, just to show in case you do want to try it out. Now we've got Octavia here, one of the easiest level 10,000 frames in the game, but also a frame that requires a lot of button presses to play properly. She's the music character. You can change your song for your what is it even called, Amanda Court? You can change your song. I got E1M1 from Doom. You can load different songs, you know, like different stuff here if you want to do. And the weapon, actually, the damage is actually affected by the song. So the more notes you have on here, the more you're going to be doing, the easier your invis will be, and all that kind of stuff. So E1M1 from Doom is going to be great. But the frame herself, the abilities are going to be very complicated, but also very powerful. First ability, you throw on a little ball thing. Enemies hit the ball, it will deflect damage back at them. But it will only damage enemies within the radius of the ball. So good amount of range is helpful here. Also, enemies hit pretty hard in this game compared to how much HP they have, so they will destroy themselves pretty quickly. Throw into Armor Strip, and it's basically an insta-kill at very high levels. So a very powerful ability. Got an augment mod, you can have two of them out at the same time, but it reduces the range of the mallet. That can be helpful in some areas with huge rooms. The second ability is usually going to be a Disco Ball, which will make enemies fall. The Disco Ball, it's actually her helmet ability as well. And this Disco Ball is extremely imbalanced. It will make enemies not able to fight at all. But the thing is that I'd prefer to kill them than have them running around doing nothing. So usually it's removed for something more powerful, like Nourish on this build, giving us viral damage and built-in extra energy multiplier. Yeah, we also got Metronome on here. The third ability of Octavia makes you go invisible, makes you get damage, melee damage buffs, makes you get multi-shot buffs, makes you get a speed buff. But you have to be doing these things to get these buffs will be on the rhythm of your song. That's why I recommend E1M1 from Doom. The faster your notes are, the easier you can get these buffs because the little line things will be, the circles will be flying in faster. So basically, what you should do here is you should put on E1M1 from Doom and then teabag like crazy and you'll be invisible. This invisibility buff works for your teammates. The melee damage buff works for your teammates too, but again, you have to be meleeing to the beat of the song. Not exactly going to be the easiest thing for most people to do. So I'd highly recommend just do a really fast song and teabag a bunch to get easy invis. And then the final ability, Amp, is people think this is a lot more complicated than this. It's just a really good damage buff, basically. You throw on her fourth ability, it will double the range of her little first ability ball, and it will give you increased damage for weapons in the area that you've thrown this down in. The louder the area is, the bigger the damage buff is. So, yeah, really easy damage buff here, and a very, very powerful frame at the end of the day. As long as you're willing to go with her playstyle of having to push a bunch of buttons. But yeah, build here is going to be for level 10,000s. Infinite energy regen with Energy Nexus and her passive. Whenever you cast an ability, you replenish energy over time. So that's going to be great with this, giving you infinite energy all the time. And tons of range to cover the area as well. Very powerful frame. You should definitely get her if you don't have her already. The Tennocon Prime, on the other hand, is a outdated weapon for sure. Is a full auto like rifle, and then it has a alt fire, like charge shot that does more damage, but it also consumes more ammo too. As far as this thing's going, I got a generic like corrosive crit build on here. You could definitely change it to like viral 100 munitions if you wanted to. But again, this is not really a weapon I'm really using much in 2024. It's pretty generic. The alt fire does more damage. So we look at right here. My primary shot does 321 damage. My alt fire shot does 3,210 damage. So it's literally just 10 times the damage. And you're using 10 bullets, I'm pretty sure, too. So not exactly a great use of your ammo. And this thing has a 200 round magazine at least. But yeah, it's just not really the best feeling weapon. But it's usable for sure if you want to use this. And it has decent Riven stats at the end of the day. Now, as far as the Pandero, it's another weapon that is not really used very much by me nowadays, but it doesn't mean that it's not strong. It actually is quite a strong weapon, the Pandero Prime. Got good crit, good status, and not the bad. We have a bad magazine, actually. 8-round magazine's terrible, but pretty good base damage at the end of the day. Now, showing the build, I do have a Riven on this thing, but I don't really need the Riven anymore. We got Viral on here. You can definitely throw on Corrosive on the cold Riven. But yeah, the thing on this thing is the alt fire is Fan the Hammer. You expend all the magazine very quickly, and then you instantly have to reload it after that. Thankfully, only 1 second reload with this build. But yeah, guys, these are not the best weapons in the game. As far as all these weapons we talk about today, the best one out of the bunch is the Guandao Prime, because it is used for endo farming. It can be used for endo farming. There's other options too, but it still has very good stats in 2024. With the slash proc still being really powerful, it is quite nice. Now, as far as Octavia accessories, these are not as exciting to me, but of course this stuff is personal preference. You got an armor set and a Cyandana, no ephemera with this one, and they're music-themed items. So I'd say if you were looking to like some really cool cosmetics from this bundle, go for the Fire Dragon ephemera from Nezha, and maybe the Cyandana from Octavia, I guess. I don't think I really like it that much, but yeah. As far as the must-have items from these drops, guys, both the frames for sure. Guandao Prime, maybe if you don't have a really good slash melee already, like a Steel Path hardcore slash melee yet. And then for accessories, if you want your screen covered in Fire Dragons, get the Fire Dragon ephemera. If not, the rest of the stuff is kind of whatever. So this stuff will be coming out on August 29th at 2 p.m. ET. Hopefully you guys get the stuff you want. And of course, yes, our current Resurgence of, I think it was like Limbo and Mesa, or whoever it is going away on that day as well. So you have limited time to grab this stuff. It's actually, yeah, it's Limbo and Mesa, the hat people. Okay, so get your hats before they go away. Limbo was kind of expensive before this, but I doubt he'll go back up. Limbo's not really the most popular frame, but supply and demand is a thing. So see you guys next time. For your support, take it easy. Bye.